Hi, and welcome to the show. Subscribe at kevinimney.com/podcast. Get CME for this episode by clicking on the CME link in the show notes. Today, we welcome back Samuel Shem. He is novelist, playwright, activist, and professor in medical humanities at NYU School of Medicine. He is, of course, the author of The House of God, but also Mount Misery, Man's Fourth Best Hospital, and his latest is titled Our Hospital. Samuel, welcome back to the show.
Hello, thanks.
So your latest book is titled Our Hospital. It is what could be your final book in the proverbial Healing Quartet. Now tell us a little bit about this book and what led you to write it.
Yeah, let me just set it first of all. So it goes in a healing quartet. The first was The House of God. The second, Mount Misery, Man's Fourth Best Hospital, and now this one, Our Hospital, and I'll go back to in a minute. But I just want to say, for those who want to write, don't listen to people. Don't listen to people. You may be brilliant. What I'm thinking, I don't know why, I'm looking back, I'm 80, at Harvard, I really wanted to write. And everybody has to do a thing with a woman who is supposed to know about writing. So I went to her and I wrote a thing for her. And then it came back and there was not a thing on it. And I'm looking, I said, oh, it must be perfect. And then I looked down in the bottom, it's see me.
Oh, no.
I said, oh, what does she want to see me? But I thought she wanted to say good thing, right? And I go to her. This is the first time to hear something to done at this great Harvard. And she said, yours is so bad, I couldn't write anything on it. It's below F. I go,
Wow.
oh, below F. That's pretty low, And so she said, what should I do? What should I do? I don't. She couldn't. And basically, I flunked the course, but they let people go out anyway. So many people wanted to be writers in the 1,000 that were that group. And they took all the things that you could do as write in Harvard, and I didn't. I just went my way with and then I got a Rhodes Scholar and all that stuff. But I was a scientist basically, and so I never tried to write. I thought, well, they're true. So when I got to Oxford, 4 years later, I said, she can't get me now. And so I really, and I was in this Rhodes Scholar group of all of these things, and it was 66. Everything was going off, and it was crazy. It was crazy there, and you could be drafted, you know. And so I started to write. That's it. And I read everything. I wrote everything. I met all these people from all over the country. And then finally, there was a mix-up, and I was slated to go to the war. And so I said, shit, I better get into medical school. And so I slipped into medical school. Well, I love medical school and all that stuff. But the point is that those years were doing things that were just letting people come in this incredible pace of people getting, killed and war and all this stuff. And we were starting Harvard Medical School.
Your books have certainly touched a nerve and have been iconic novels to read for anyone going into medicine, of course.
Yeah.
Your latest is Our Hospital, part of the Healing Quartet. So talk about the Healing Quartet in general, about those books and just some of the messages that you want readers to come away with after reading your quartet of books.
Yeah, right. Get something that would keep you awake, I guess. No, The House of God is just it's just came a bang. We were so treated, so bashful, so difficult that when we stopped that one year, I went on to being a psychiatrist, but it was so horrible as in the book. We were just so out of it. I and about 4 people, Eat My Dust, Hyper Hooper, The Run, all of those things, and I brought them over to my house. and we started just talking and drinking and puffing, and it just was, and it was just the funniest stuff that anybody had ever made, about medicine. And all of a sudden I think, geez, maybe I should tape it. Maybe I should tape it.
Mhm.
So I start taping them, and we got drunk and all this stuff, and then I was I was trying to write plays, but then I was looking for someone who did plays, and I wrote to her. I said, P.S. I had started writing this stuff up, just taking it off right off this, cigars and it was all a mess. But
Yeah.
she said, I don't do plays. Why don't you send me what you got? And then it came back and it said, I don't know about. I was standing in the hospital, the what is it called, McLean Hospital. It's just
Yeah.
a psychiatry hospital. I'm standing there, and she says, these are whatever's coming back to the first time anybody ever said anything about it, and I didn't want to write prose, but she said, well, I think you're a madman or a genius. But I really loved what you said, and I was standing in the hospital, crazy hospital. I said, well, I can only tell you that I'm in a mental hospital where we're talking. So that was it. And I hadn't ever written a novel, but I happened to sell it for nothing, really. Never, no one else wanted it. Some crazy woman got it. And then it was 6, 7 revisions, so that I could actually say it. My brain isn't there now, but I knew every single word in it.
Hmm.
And then it goes on, but it was the 60s, and people went off at me very, very hard, but I don't react to that. And I'll tell you one other thing about the House of God that really crystallized this. I decided something weird. I took a pen name, and I didn't want to go out for the book. I was very pure, pure,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this, like this. And so for 2 years, Kevin, I I refused everything that they wanted me to talk about all over America. They could only go, in those days, you could only go through the publisher, and they'd put it in an envelope. And I went, and for 2 years, I didn't say anything. I just went on with my life. And one day, nice sunny day, 2 days later, he hands me a envelope. We used to have envelopes. I think you know what they are, right?
Sure.
I open it up, and he says, I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and if I didn't have your book, I'd kill myself overnight. Kill myself. And I mean, God, I can almost cry. God, he meant it. You could tell he meant it. And I said, well, maybe people would have a way to want to hear about me, my experience. And so from that time, I went really the other way. Anyone who wanted me, because I had money, I didn't need to do it from
Yeah.
the doctoring. From that day on, there I was. I did it. I had the most remarkable place. I have been everywhere in the United States and almost all the old youth. So it was the one thing I would say is we grew up in my time to do things with other people by and large. You really try to make things better.
So the House of God was written decades ago. Do you think that the themes in the House of God are still relevant to the trainees today?
It's not quite like it, but it's really, really hard. And what's the reason? I know, money.
Yeah.
It's money. I I cry sometimes about what's doing to us doctors, what's happening to us doctors. They're leaving. They're cursing. I mean, I'm NYU. That's a great, great, great place for me. I've never seen a hospital like that. I'm easing out of it because I'm old. But what has happened, and what in the new book our hospital is in the first part of COVID.
Mhm.
And I was, I sort of thought I was done with that series, but all of a sudden, well, tell you how it went. I was going out to talk, and I was in one of the hospitals in March of COVID time, and I caught it, right in the first times we were right up there in that March, right, the beginning of March. Nobody knew anything. And then I got back to Janet, my wife, and me, and all of a sudden I felt just after it, nobody did anything with it, and one of the things that happens there, you stand up and then you sort of fall over because it can't pump the blood up, and I almost hit my head right on the head, but who knew? And then one of the guys I was with died 3 days later. And I'm sitting there and I'm just, scared hell. And luckily I gave it to my Janet, and we had a hard time, we weren't going to die, but it was sort of close to, it was going into the inside, into the breath, into the lungs. And then what do I do? And one of the ones that I was there with died 2 days after. I don't know if I told you that.
Wow.
But then I'm an addict, I'm an addict to writing. That time, I say, well, this is what always gets me. It's somebody's got to write this, and it's going to be me.
Sure.
And so I did 3 years, and I almost not going out of the house and stuff because we didn't get to go to the house after a while. And then I did something I never did in writing. I just used to write in the morning and then go do doctor things. And then I didn't have to do that anymore. And so this time I said, really, I really got through this because I was sick and I didn't know how sick I was going to get. I wanted to write. I mean, a COVID, the plague, I could be in, this time. What is that like? It's been all the way through the world, right? And so usually what I do when I write, I only work in the morning because I get worn out if I do.
Sure.
And I used to go and see patients after that. I just the morning. Well, this time I got so wrapped up in it just to do it. I didn't have anything to do in the afternoon, so I went, and I went again for another 4 hours. It was crazy. I mean, crazy stuff. And I just loved writing this book because I knew I was getting it all right. Usually, once somebody asked me and said, "Well, how long do you work in the morning?" And I say, "When the head goes into atrial fib," then I stop. That's true. I can hear it stopping, and I said, "Okay, bye." And sometimes this time I went through it. Writing really keeps me going. It really does. What I did was, there's a book called The Spirit of the Place, which won all kinds of national things. The Spirit of the Place, which is probably my best book. But what I did was I took from the doctors that I always wrote on, The House of God, and that one was in Hudson, New York. I wanted really to be with these people. They're crazy. I'm crazy. They're real for me. What I wanted to do was I went like with these hands of mine, and I said, I want to bring these together as a last book. I really want to, this is going to, in the COVID, in this small town, Hudson, New York, that's where I grew up. So that's a lot to tell you of what I've been doing, and I did it I gave it to Janet, and I think it took a lot out of me, so it's hard, but I love writing. Some people say, well, they don't know, but what I did, I have put the COVID on history. Put it this way, I was sad because the fat man couldn't be it because he was dead in the previous one, but I find a way to make him come back. I found a way to make him come back. So he's there.
Let me ask you how your writing has evolved since The House of God and decades later to your most recent book, Our Hospital. How have the themes and your writing evolved from your first book to your most recent one?
Well, it's of a wiser person writing them, I think. I can go deeper. I think I really could take in all different kinds of things that went up. I think you get wise if you really write, and learn everything. You have to learn everything to writing at the crib.
Yeah.
You get wiser. You get wiser. For me, you get wiser. You let wanting to talk to people. You hopefully you and your spouse do better. She loves me writing. She's about to kick me out
Okay.
because I've been like 6, 7. I haven't written anything, but I think I've got it now. I think I'm going to do something. Maybe. Well, anyway. So that's the answer.
So we're talking to Samuel Shem. He's a novelist, playwright, activist, and author of course, The House of God, and his most recent, Our Hospital. Samuel, as always, just share some take-home messages that you want to leave with the Kevin MD audience.
Don't go down things alone. If you're having anything difficult, don't go down and keep it to yourself. We are really in a hard time now. First it was the machines, and now is the money. I have never seen the greed around these hospitals that are getting, bought and all of that and then sold. Don't do things alone. It's harder now because it's more diverse and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's the most important thing is people with you, have people with you that are good people, and just always remember that you're not alone. There's what we're doing now is not going with people. I mean, I think it's very hard to have good friends. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even I'm at friends partly because of the COVID and all of that did, but everything is in chaos. I never thought it would get worse. I really didn't after a couple of these books, but this is worse. This is worse. As all these places are falling down. One of the things in this book, Our Hospital, it's to the T, it's what is true. I talked to lots of people if I wasn't there. It was true. The way that we are paid, by the big companies. That's it. And doctors have to take more to do. I mean, they have to take it on. But we're going. I think you know the issues probably
Mm-hmm.
that people are going. Are they still going?
Are they still
Do you
leaving
think?
medicine, are you asking?
Yeah, yeah.
I talk to a lot of doctors who are, yes.
Yeah, I notice on your what you're what you put up there that a lot of people are running and trying to do different things
Mm-hmm.
and all. I mean, it's so sad that these young people are having to do what they do. They don't do what they need to do. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's money is killing us. That's what it is. It's really killing us. And I think we're near the bottom in terms of why would we stay with this thing? Why would we stay? Could I do one page? Read one page is very short. This is the end of the book of Our Hospital, just the last one, with Roy and Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And they've won all the things they want. It's a very happy book, all right? They're sitting out in their house, outside the house. Let's see. Okay, now they're talking about Roy. Now we turn our sight to you, the next generations. This isn't our fight anymore, at least not on the front line, but it breaks our heart to see you this way. It's your fight, and we have your backs. We have faith in you. This is to the next group, right? We have faith in you. Stick together, lean on us, count on us, call on us, and we'll be there with you. As he went on, it was as if he were reading from writing in the sky. And he goes on. All of you have made it as doctors and nurses. All of you need us now is inspiration. We promise we will help with that. It will be hell. But listen, take this in deeply. These things can change like lightning and with lightening. Sometime, maybe when you are down, your dark sky may lighten. And in that moment, you may glimpse a beloved person, a love or a wild, kind teacher or family member, or as I did, a fat man. And in that sudden, strange awareness, you can count on one thing above all else for sure. He smiled at Berry. Our job is to reveal and heal. We all together have the power to lift you and to carrying up. It is a rising time. He paused. Berry nodded, reached out, took his hand gently and smiled. He finished. We wish you all well. We wish you all well. From my heart, really. Writing is wonderful.
Samuel, thank you again for sharing your perspective and insight. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. You're doing God's will.